Washed Up Darius. My name is Kitchen Player. I will do your Vod review today. It's a pleasure to see your gameplay. Let me just skim over your request again. Hey, I've been playing since early season 7 and I'm 400,000 Darius main. I'd like to focus on my complete lack of mid-late game strategy outside of laning phase. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'd love to know any glaring mistakes I'm making outside of Darius mechanics. Any issues with my laning would be brilliant too. But I'm primarily focused on how to play when ahead, how to press advantages, and what I should do by doing what I should be doing as a bruiser top laner. Thanks very much. Please help my Sylvaras. Okay, yeah, sure, we can do that. So we will just brief over your laning phase. Then I will not go too much in depth how you could win the lane much harder. I mean, there is a lot of things you could do maybe there. I assume as a silver player, no offense, but your laning phase is definitely unrefined. That's just how it is. Let me just fix my microphone. I don't know how bad it is if I have it like, wait, can I? I guess that should be better, at least I hope so. So let me see. Okay, you start off the lane, Sven is waiting here. He has obviously a lot of respect for you, which is fine. You start at W. I'm not sure if you need to start W in this matchup. You normally do it in matchups where you need like spacing advantage or where your Q is a really weak level 1 tool. This is very there. For instance, in the Riven matchup, you will always start W. Okay, we'll lose minions there. That's not good. I feel like against Swain you could use it. He's a ranged champion. I think you pay a lot of respect to that, but as Darius, you actually don't need to be so respectful. I mean, with your W, you do have less pressure, but yeah, now with your level 2, you can really pressure here. Oh, you use E. I'm not sure. I would definitely go down with the Q because it's such a strong tool, because it gives you range. Okay, pulls you in. Interesting. We're at 230. You should ward now. Tribush would be good because Lee Sin could already gank you. You see he did a 3-camp clear. If he would have, like, instead of clearing the wolf camp, went directly to the to red, he would be finished already on your ass. So be a little more careful there. So this lane spot is a little bit okay. Finally skilled Q. You want to quickly push that lane in. Why do you want to push the lane in? So it resets and pushes into your direction. You're not forced to play in that pocket, because playing in that pocket is, because of the jungle, obviously enormously dangerous. Every half decent Lee Sin player would be on your ass already. Okay, I'm saying too much ass right now. I'm sorry. I have to stop that. So yeah, you pushed. I will push that in. You're dead here. Like, you're dead 3 times already. I mean, the Udyr gave you some coverage with his invade, but I feel like you didn't really take that into account and play in that aggressive pocket because of that reason. You normally don't want to play in that pocket as long as you're not super comfortable to... Okay, wait, I paused that now. I mean, we don't want to focus too much on laning phase, so I will do that very briefly, okay, just to get a basic understanding. Overall, I would recommend you to focus more on your early game and let like mid and late game be this. I mean, we will go over a very easy flowchart for you. Like, we go into the mid game very quickly now. Like, we will brief over the laning phase, and then we go into the mid and the late game, and I will say what you should do or what should be your movements, so you can like get a little bit of a template. What would be a nice idea, and we will do like a cookie cutter. I will give you basically a flow chart on how you should, where you should be, or if you should be with your team, or if you should not with your team. That's pretty much what we will do then. Overall, these are topics which are more suited for an actual coaching session, actually, instead of a VOD review. So I would recommend you to actually pick up a coach. I feel like most coaches can do that much as long as they're a halfway decent elo. Like, everything Diamond 5 and higher should be capable of doing that much, or just coaches who are very long in business and they can like go over that. I mean, I could do that as well, but I feel like it's not what you expect when you buy in VOD review that I do theory crafting with you. So I'm sorry, but I feel like this would be very helpful for you. So you have a basic concept then in mid and late game, what you should do, and then so you can actually like learn about basic principles of the game, right? Like there are things like map pressure, lane priority, which you might have heard of already, but you not really know why these concepts are key and what they actually enable you to do, because these concepts are actually the reason why people can carry games in silver, gold, platinum, so on and so forth when they're halfway decent, even without killing other people, just by playing right. I mean, that aside, that good people can get really fat very quickly here because there are so many mistakes which are made. But I went a little bit off topics there, so I'm sorry. So let's go back to laning. There are like a couple of things you can do in a lane, right? You can have the lane in, like if you know what you're doing, you can like derogate where the lane is as you want, right? So if you're the stronger champion, you can like say, do I want to lane in this pocket? Do I want to lane here? Where do I want to lane? So you can like do that. The safest pocket is definitely somewhere here. This is called the, this is a lane. Often people, but I don't know the name right now. Oh, I think it was the golden spot or something. I don't know. It's around here where you can like freeze. You could like freeze here and play in this pocket. Then you're really safe because you're gank immune, and you can like free farm, and then you can like position yourselves here. Then you can position yourself around here. And then you have like, you can use the bush, you can capitalize from the bush in case of a trade. You can zone off the opponent from the farm here. So you gain an advantage slowly but steadily, and you're gank immune. So because of that, that's the golden spot. I know I'm talking very quickly, that's just because of time management reasons. But you can obviously just rewind videos, so that's a big advantage of this format. Because of that, I'm not restraining myself here, otherwise I would talk a little bit slower. So that's that pocket. This pocket, however, is a big disadvantage. Can you see why this pocket sucks? Or why it isn't appropriate all the time? Because you have no pressure. I hope you got that. You have zero pressure. The jungler, your opponent's jungler can't gank you, so he will ignore you. So the opponent's jungler will just gank mid and bot lane non-stop, so you basically produce yourself losing laners. And all you do for that is like you set the enemy top laner behind. This is in high elo or in very high elo. In specific situations, this can be very helpful. In this situation, especially in solo queue, it's not helpful because your laners are not good enough to sustain the and they are not good enough to actually control or to not feed. Right? They are not good enough to not feed when Lee Sin is pressuring them, so they will die more often. So you basically really have not only losing laners, but you're feeding laners suddenly, which is even worse. And in addition, and this is really bad, your Swain will not stay behind for very long because he will like join team fights with his fat teammates, and your teammates will die because they have no self-control and they have no game plan. So they will give them a team fight even while they're ahead, and so he will pick up the assists and gold, assists and kills, and they will pick up global objectives. So he will come back very quickly, and you might have a farm lead of like 60 minions, but it will not matter. Then he's back in the game and you're like, damn, I won my lane, but why am I losing so many games? Yeah, that's the reason, because your teammates are paying for the fact that you don't have to worry about the jungler. Okay, so that's that. So then there's this middle pocket, and that's way more interesting. Why is this pocket more interesting? Because we are suddenly threatened from a jungler. And I know that sounds bad, but it's good. When the jungler can gank you, he might eventually gank you. I mean, we're in silver, so he might not. But the fact that he could is good, because that allows us to just place a ward here, and when he moves up and tries to gank us, what we can do is we just move out, because we spotted him and he wasted time and resources. That's good for us. In addition, because we lane here in this pocket instead of that pocket, we have a lot of space here in which we can fight the Swain. So we can actually punish him, we can zone him out of minions. That should be a mentality as a Darius player. I'm strong in the early game, I'm stronger than 99% of other top laners, I'm gaining a farm advantage, and in the best case, I'm killing my opponent, and I'm doing it all the time. Every laning phase, at every 10th minute mark, if you don't have a kill, ask yourself, why don't I have a kill? If you don't have a CS lead, ask yourself, why don't I have a CS lead? That's the way you get better at these things. Always ask yourself, how can I be more obnoxious? How can I be more annoying for my opponent's top lane? This is the way of Darius. You're really annoying. By the way, the best Darius players play Flash Ghost. It's way superior than Flash Ignite. Why that's the case, do your research. Go on Summoner School, go on Reddit, figure it out. There's a very good reason for that. I don't do all your research for you. I'm just pointing it out so you have a little bit more direction. So that's that. This pocket is really good if you want to fight your opponent, but you can't if you want to fight your opponent, especially when he's range. Why is it better than this pocket? Because this pocket is really overextended already. It's so easy to gank you, and even when we say we want to get ganked, it's way harder for us to avoid these ganks, and in addition, we can't pressure him. He has free farm, right? Like, let's check the farm after 3 minutes. You are not so bad, actually, but he's not behind, right? You want to get ahead in the lane, right? You want to be better than he is. But you're even. Being even is not good enough. And even if you kill him now, that's just because he's screwed up. Like, when you climb up the elos a little bit, he will not die. And then, what do you do then? Yeah, you go even out of the laning phase. This is not good, isn't Darius? Okay, smash the emote, I like that. Show him what's good. Okay, this is annoying because he can freeze that, so that's good. Damn. Okay, we got some coverage. Udyr is helping us. The only good thing, like, about the whole pushing all the time is actually that you're exhausting his mana pool because he needs mana to farm under the tower. That's like a good thing. If you do like that on purpose, that can be good in certain matchups. But if you're just pushing all the time because it feels right, that's not good, okay? Okay, you go in there. I mean, it's good that you capitalize from the pressure. This is good. You go in there, you check. You see where Darius, you see that Lee isn't here. You could drop a ward if you had one up. I don't know if you had one up. You didn't, or you had. So you could have dropped the ward on his rat buff. Would have been. Okay, you hesitated there a little bit. I don't like that. You have to push quickly. If you push that, go into the bush and recall. We recall. Look at your gold. We have 1,100 gold. I mean, obviously you actually didn't farm so bad. It's actually impressive. You farmed very well. I think you lost about... You didn't lose a lot. This is actually really good. I'm impressed. I think you lost 4 minions or something. Can that be? I think I have the wrong numbers in my head, but it's still, it's actually really good. I'm impressed. Okay, that's good. That's good what you're doing. I like that. I mean, I don't like... The problem with that, I like the way you're pressuring him, right? You're tilting him. This is great in silver, by the way. You're tilting him off right now because he wants to farm and you can't. And at the same time, you're pressuring him to do something. And you're denying him gold. And the denying gold factor is actually the right play. Like, we obviously want to play the game and not the mind game alone, but this is a very good mixture of both because you're tilting him at the same time while doing a superior play, and that's very good. The only problem with that, as I said, is that you're a recall behind. I mean, he bought shit. I don't know why he would go tier. I think tier isn't good in Swain. There are other items which are better. So he basically didn't buy combat stats, which is super awkward. But if he's good and he buys actual items, he's ahead now by... I mean, just look at your gold, right? He would be at like 3 kills because he has like... Oh no, he wouldn't because you have a gold league of 200. But he would like up more than 1 kill in gold because the gold only matters in the items, right? The only thing you could think about here is like that you most likely have an experience advantage. No, actually you don't have. But you could like produce one by pushing this lane on, right? By like slow pushing it on, so your minion wave stacks up. I don't know how much you know about lane, about wave manipulation. That's a little bit of a problem now. Damn, I hate VOD reviews already. But yeah, you could like push that, get an experience advantage, last hit the big one, get your level 6, flash on him. That you could do that and hope and pray that he's not good enough to make it out in time. And then you give him a lot of damage and you ult him and he gets super low and then you recall because the wave was pushed in and he's forced to stay to CS the minion wave. With cooldowns most likely because he had to use his spells to defend and without a flash, and then you recall and you have a better recall timing, right? And he's forced to recall as well. And he doesn't have teleport, so he loses a lot of minions. Yeah. You could think about something like that, but this is all low elo talk. Like, this is all things you do in low elo because you know that the opponent's jungler will not punish you for this kind of shit and that people will eventually fail their flashes. And I mean, we shouldn't play like that, but you could think about it like that as well. Okay. Damn, we're wasting so much time in the early game, but I feel like it's interesting. I like the early laning phase on top lane. I like that a lot. I think it's a really interesting thing. Yeah, you really want to recall and get your fucking phage, so just push that wave in. Your minion waves and the opponent's minion waves are always mirrored with your incoming minion waves, right? So you want to time the way you push, so that when you push the wave, so that you can how do you say it? You can wait. Whatever, the word, I don't get the word right now, I'm sorry. You want to walk with the minion wave, you want to walk it into the tower, so it resets, and then you want to recall. That's it. Why you want to crash minion waves into the tower is basic main lane understanding. I hope you know that. It's not so complicated. That's, well, there are a lot of videos about it. I mean, the problem with that, I already pointed it out, like when this Lee Sin is halfway decent, I mean, he got a killer, so that's nice, but he's like top set for minutes already. And he could just walk up here and jump on you. And what do you do against it, right? You flash away. Yeah, great, you lost the summoner spell. Then the wave is weird. And then they push, then you recall, in case you survive. And then you recall, and the Swain and the Lee Sin push the wave in, and you lose all the minions, and you lose wave position because you don't have a teleport. Like, this is not necessary. Just shove the damn, just ward, shove the wave in, recall. As easy as that. Ward, bad ward, by the way. This wave is pushing. I think we can see that the wave is pushing. So when this wave moves in, and we know that the reinforcement waves will come in, and let's say the Swain tanks it here a little, then, and you are like forced to go walk in and force him off of the wave, then the wave will stuck you in a very weird angle, right? And so you have to deal with pushing another wave in this weird pocket. However, when you are positioning yourself somewhere around this line or even more in, then this ward is not giving you sufficient coverage, because when you spot Lee Sin, I would love to zoom out more fast. Like when you spot Lee Sin around here, it's just too late when you're up there somewhere, right? Because you need like a second until you most likely realize that he's there. Maybe you need him long, and then he's like here, and then you're already screwed. So this ward doesn't give you good coverage. A better ward would be this, because this gives you coverage from this angle as well, and it spots him earlier this way, right? So this would be a better ward. Or you position it far wide out, then like here, which would be even that, which would be very nice against the river, but then obviously you're exposed to something like that, which isn't nice. Okay, that's laning. Let me speed up the video a little. Yeah, you would crash the wave. Please recall. Please recall. Please, you're wasting time. No, no, bad Darius. No. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm a little bit too much of a clown at the moment. I'm sorry. Okay. It's good that you killed him. It's nice. You're Darius. You're super bloodthirsty. I get it. But why do we have to resort to something like that? Why do we have to do that? I mean, think about it. What did you just invest? You invested 2 summoner spells, 5 minutes cooldown. I mean, Ignite is a little bit less, but that's not the matter here. You invested enormously important cooldowns. You invested your ultimate. You invested these minions, maybe more, because you have 16 seconds death time, and you need to run to the lane. You invested and these minions, like you easily lose 6+ minions, right? And a kill are 13 minions, right? So you got half a kill advantage. Not even that. Because Swain got an assist, right? That's 75 gold, that's 2. So you got less than half a kill. You got less than an assist of an advantage on Swain. You got behind in experience for using 2 summoner spells and your ultimate. In addition, and this is really big, that you can't lane anymore in the pockets which are good for you. You can't lane here anymore. I mean, these pockets, it's getting better now, because you could like capitalize from the pressure, so you could shove that in and then you could like roam. But it's so dangerous now, because before, when you were laying in that pocket, you're fine, right? You're Gucci because Lee Sin didn't have ultimate. That's the first thing, and the second thing, you can just flash away from him and use the speed boost of your bleedings. I think it's the passive of the W to run away, and we are fine, right? Swain isn't good at chasing, and when he sidestep or flash the Lee Sin Q, he isn't that sticky as well, so we would be fine. But now you don't have flash. So basically all you are now is a tanky something running around on top lane. So what you have to do now is you have to play in a really safe pocket. So you have to play somewhere like this if you don't want the Lee Sin to keep killing you. Or even safer, somewhere like that. Or in the worst case, you lane here, but this is dangerous, so you have to ward it out deeply. And the motion of warding in this situation alone is dangerous, right? Because when you go down here and you ward, and Lee Sin is just on his way already because he knows the flashless Darius is top lane and we can just farm him up now, then you're dead again. And I know nobody in silver will do that, but trust me, people start doing that in gold, and they do it in platinum more often, and in diamond they do it all the time. And I mean, you want to become diamond, right? You want to be good. So take that into consideration. Learn to play the game smart. This has nothing to do with mechanics. It's just being smart, right? So get smart about it. Have some thoughts on the way you're laning and you're approaching the game. I recommend you watching videos about this kind of stuff. There are a lot of good videos about that online. Let me give you some links, okay? Or let me give you some good names, okay? I think this might really help you, okay? I think there's one good... there's one good, I never remember the name, but when you search for wave control, you often find the classes of them. Okay, you know, I got them. Oh yeah, I know. Laning stance, but it was a really important thing. Okay, this guy's Leaguecraft 101. Watch their videos. They have really good videos. Let them teach you, please. It's so important. If you don't want to do that because it's annoying watching videos, I don't know, then search a coach. Doesn't have to be me. I mean, my name, no counterplay. You can book me. I would be thrilled. But there are free coaches out there who can learn you these kind of things as well, if you want that. Because this is so key, because this kind of behavior, this kind of idea of playing the laning phase, it just destroys you. It will really, it's holding you back. And it could be so much better, you know? I mean, look at your CSing. It's not bad. It was really good the first 5 minutes. It's really good. It's very okay. See, I mean, you're ahead of everyone, right? And if you would CS these minions, or if you could have CS all the minions you just lost because you died there, I mean, you would be really Gucci. You would be really fine. Sorry, I'm overusing the word Gucci. I don't know why I'm doing that. So don't throw away, or like, don't be held back by things which are easily fixable, okay? Learn to respect the opponent's jungler and play around it. Okay, we will... I think we are in mid... No, we are not in mid-game yet. We're soon in mid-game. Damn, we wasted so much time. I mean, how long is this water reveal? Whatever. But it's not wasted. We talked about some important stuff. Okay, we shove the wave. We put down a ward. Okay, we don't. Very small. This wards expire, right? So when we do that, you can like just ward it when you walk back, right? I mean, because you see when Swain is moving in, right? So this ward is not helping you. Even when you meet Lee Sin here, and you want to know if Swain moves in, we just see it on the map, right? So this ward isn't doing anything, and we could just go play Dora the Explorer now, and then we move in back, and when we move back, we place the ward, and we just saved ourselves 20 seconds of, and we just gained 20 seconds of coverage. When this kind of stuff appears, by the way, this is a good ward spot. This is this up there around here is a good pink ward spot, so yeah, you could go for that. You should buy pink ward control wards. I mean, it's pretty useless on silver, to be honest. People just suck at the vision game, and they will not look at the map anyway. I like the mid lane gank, that's good. Using the W before the grab, I like that. We got him, good job. That's good. Taking the minions there, fine as well. Yeah, that was good, G. It was a good rotation. And it was a good way of capitalizing off your pressure, because you got pressure because we shoved the damn wave. And because we had the pressure, we could gain. Simple as that could really attack. So the thing you should always do is like click on the opponent, click on them, and then you get their stats, and then you see his movement speed. I mean, he's slowed now because of that, it's so low. And then look at your own movement speed, and think and then look up if he is more. And if he is less, don't be hesitant to wait half a second longer for your grab. Like, move in half a second longer before you use your grab, just so it definitely hits, okay? This is important. Or this can save you a lot of awkward situations. Okay, you got a splash. That's good. You get you get a few minions. I mean, you paid with like I think around 5 minions for his flash, but that's fine. This is so weird. I don't know. Holy shit! Oh, you're using that. Okay, I guess okay. You want to shove that very quickly, especially now that we know that Xerath is around. We want to shove it so quick. Like, use your Q. Oh yeah, use your Q. Never mind, my bad. Yeah, shove it quickly. You shouldn't chase. Like, your mentality should always be in a perfect world, or at least in place perfect. Do you catch him? And the answer is no, right? Because he will just jump away. We not even know if his ward's available or not. I mean, he doesn't, but we can know that, right? So he could just like run you down a little, and in the second you get like ready to grab him, he just jumps away. Or he could like kick you away, right? So it's so unlikely that you will ever catch him. And if you catch him now, that's most likely because he's bad. And that's not a way we want to play the game, right? We don't want to assume... We don't want to base our actions on the level of play of our opponents. We don't want to do that, or we don't want to do that in silver. Like, that's what really high challenger people sometimes do. Like, they recognize the person they are playing against, and then they're like, okay, I know that guy is bad when he's camped. I mean, it's the, let's call it the Hashinshin thing, right? Where people would just always camp Hashinshin because they know he will eventually rage quit if you just kill him two or three times in lane. So people will camp the shit out of him because they know the weakness of the player. But like, we can't apply, or we can't apply that in silver because we don't know the people. We can obviously abuse silver players as a general group, because in general they can't look at the map and they farm very poorly and stuff, and we can abuse that with specific picks or specific strats. That's what elo boosters often do, but that's not really what we want to do, right? We want to be good at the game. We want to learn the game. So doing decisions like that, which only work in silver, and even then they have like a success rate of like 50%, is super poor. It's not good. I mean, look at his movements. What is he doing? Like, he moves like that, right? His clicks are so weird. And even now he makes it out there. I don't know why he doesn't kick. His ultimate up, right? I don't know. So awkward. And Annie moved, right? I mean, you needed Annie for that. And if he's like, let's say, how easy does he make it out then? I'm curious. The problem is that the replay is a little bit bugged, right? But let's say his flash is up already, okay? I don't know it, because you see here it's not up, and here it's up, and it's super awkward. I think it's up, though. Like, first of all, look at his movements, okay? You see what he does? He's moving his camera, he's moving like this and this, right? Instead of just clicking in a straight line. What does this do? He loses distance. Because he is useless motion while you just chase on him. So that's bad of him already. Instead, he could like just do something like that, right? He could move like that, ward jump over, flash out or something. Really easy, and he has no way of collapsing on him. But he does these really weird motions. Then he makes this ward jump. This was actually smooth. Now he could flash already. Like, why does he have to wait for you to pull to actually flash? That's not good. I mean, this mistake would have been made by multiple players, I think. But still, shouldn't happen. And Xerath, you know, like Xerath should never be forced to actually help there. He should just be able to push mid lane and punish Annie for that. And so, okay, we go too much in detail for him. And Silver Rod video, I'm sorry. Okay, I mean, he flashes over. And now Annie has to flash, which is not so nice. And now he is refusing to use ultimate for whatever reason, which is so bad. Because if he kicks like Annie away and he kicks her through you, you're knocked up. Annie is far away suddenly and he might actually escape there. So the whole play was weird. And what you did there was you completely lost the recall timing, which was very good. You have like a lot of money, right? Swain is stronger than you. You have no mana. You have so much gold in the pocket. Does he actually kill you? Oh my god, he's so bad. But is it enough? Yeah, it's enough. See, like, and this was with Silver Swain because he has no reason to go melee range against you, right? He doesn't need to allow you to auto attack him. He can just attack you with 100 more distance between you and him, and then you can auto attack him without running on him, and if you run at him, you lose auto attacks already. So he played it so poorly and he still managed to kill you. That just shows you how big the difference is. You had like 1,700 gold in your pocket. 1,700, that's more than 5 kills of gold which are in your pocket and you didn't make use of them in that fight. That's the way how you throw games, by the way. And you had no mana, but I mean this is just the cherry on the cake, right? Okay, we speed that up very quickly. I'm not so interested in the rest of the laning phase. I think we covered a lot of stuff already. Oh, you dove him. That's very nice. Good job. I think we finally are in the mid game now. Let's call that the beginning of the mid lane. Mid game, even while we're a little bit late to the party. Our basic idea now should be to we want to use the fact that we got ahead out of the laning phase. We're ahead, right? So we want to make use of that. So what we're doing is now we recall, we get a control ward, then we keep pushing the lane, we keep pressuring, so that people will eventually try to kill us. That's called split pushing. It's really important. You should make use of that. Damn, this Lee Sin is a hero. He dies. Okay, we are very... Okay. We're lucky with a good team. It's the 14th minute. It's a little bit unlucky because normally it would be good for us to go bot lane, but because Nash hasn't spawned yet, it's not so important. We could do it anyway, so our team can pick up the Herald more easily, and the next Drake is a Cloud Drake, so it's not that important. Okay, it's a little bit sad. We go up there, we can push the wave. Laning phase is over. We didn't need to keep killing the Swain. Like, why? What's the point? We're back at in which scenario do you actually kill him? You only kill him if he handshakes the trade. But why would the Swain handshake the trade with 1 kill against 3 killed Darius? Why would he do that? He has no reason. What are you doing? I mean, I know why you're doing this. I know why you're doing this, right? It's so obvious. It's like in Silver, this often works out where you like go to a fight and you're like, okay, I clear that. I clear that, right? Or I mean, the interesting part isn't like this moment. It's more like the decision when you're up here and instead of keep pushing, you like decide I join my team now. And I get the decision because in Silver, or I get why you do that decision at that moment. Because obviously your team is fighting and you want to join them, right? And that's the major problem of playing Ignite or Ghost. I mean, I'm a big fan of Ghost Darius because Ghost Flash Darius because it's really strong. But the problem of not having teleport is obviously that you just can't play the blindfolded split push style where you just split push until there is a fight and then you like decide in a split second, do I teleport in or not, and then you teleport in there and you clean it up or you don't. That's pretty much the problem. So you are someone who is forced when you play Ignite or Ghost on Darius. Do I actually want to? Is it actually good walking down here? Because you invest 20 seconds or something here, and it's a lot of time. But what you should ask yourself again, in which world or in which scenario is this, or we should like go back a little. We should like watch here, like you should watch mid lane now, and now you should judge, do I want that? And then you have to look, yeah, my Annie is dead, right? Or my Annie's in the graveyard, my Twitch is dead as well. And they will most likely actually, they will hurt my Udyr and my Sona as well a lot. Maybe they don't kill them, but they will be heavily damaged. Do you actually think that you can like just casually move in there against the Janna with enough mana still available for tornadoes, shields, and slows? And you will just, without your flash, kill multiple people here and like save the day? I mean, how often will this work? I guarantee you against halfway decent players this will never work. So you should just stay top lane, shove the wave, get the gold, maybe get the tower and trade it off for the 2 mid lane towers. Because these are dead. You can't even defend it properly because they might be able to dive you. No, maybe they're not able to dive you. Maybe, but you definitely lose one tower, and then they might threaten this tower as well. I mean, but oh, I mean, when Swain comes, they can actually dive you because Swain can tank the tower. It's a little bit rough to completely calculate it out, but in general, it's the way easier thing to just, you know, to just keep pushing the top lane. The fact that your Udyr dies and your Sona is pretty dead. Makes it worse. I mean, Swain did weird stuff, so he split from the team, but he's the tank, so it's not that great. Oh my god, it's hilarious. I know you feel like great about that, but in reality this just never happens against halfway decent players. And I mean, you should always try to see the game from the perspective of more sophisticated players. That's, I mean, there's the saying in chess, right? You can only get smarter when you play smarter opponents. And I mean, we can, as long as you don't just buy in gold or in platinum account, you know, you can't play against better opponents at the moment all the time. But you can at least try to think about what they would do, and if they just pack together and like save each other off, and then the Janna is just kiting you out, then you're pretty done for with these kind of actions. You know? As long, I mean, that's pretty much the way your mentality should always be. As long as the opponents have an out of my play, which is bad for me, like when the Janna kites you out there and you get killed, then this is obviously bad for you. Then the play isn't good, because a good player will punish me for it, and someday you will face a good player, a player who is good enough to punish you for it. I think going mid here is fine. You have to be careful. As long as you don't have flash, you're handicapped. I don't know why you do that. Or I know why you do it, because you're greedy and you know that people sometimes screw up and then the Tristana or the Janna or the Xerac go in range. But if you like look up their range, their relative range on auto attacks and spells, you will realize that they have far more range than your Crook, so you will never hit them. It's way smarter to, after you like remove the pressure from the mid lane and you gain mid priority, like this is mid priority, that your team can actually push out the mid lane now. You should just go to the side lane and farm up. You know, you have to get stronger and stronger, so you're an actually good front line for your team while being a strong threat. Oh yeah, I have a good analogy for you. It's not an analogy, but it's the thing you might keep in mind. Right now, you're like these Katarina players who jump into 5 people and pray that they don't CC, stun, knock up them in any way possible, that they can just channel their ultimate through and then they will kill 5 people. That's pretty much your playstyle right now. And it works perfectly against silver players who don't know that the word CC exists. But when you like move up to gold, flat, and diamond, when people are a little bit more sophisticated, they will just CC you once and you're dead, and you just died completely pointlessly. And that's your playstyle in a nutshell right now. What you do depends so heavily on the fact that your opponents are morons that it will really break your neck when you move up a little bit. So you have to stop approaching the game like that. Okay, let's watch. You went top side. That's okay. Because your ADC spot and the Baron isn't up yet. You're just a little bit poking, I guess. Like you're poking your nose into that. You should be on the sideline now and just pressuring. In general, as a top lane, most of the time you're on side lanes. Split pushing, like most of the time you will split push just so you don't miss out on gold. Because if you group with your team all the time, you just lose gold every second, right? Which you couldn't see us. Okay, that was fine. I think I would have dropped the tower aggro mid-dive so that the Udyr takes it. Or that you like drop it and then you take it again, because towers do more damage with every shot they make on you on the same target. But that might have killed the Udyr in this situation actually. So I can't really criticize you for that. As long as you were comfortable that you can like sustain through the tower damage, that's fine, I guess. This Herald spawn is questionable. Yeah, you can go mid lane. I think that's good what you're doing. Just head mid lane, push the wave and recall. I would do that. It's not perfectly ideal, but it's okay because your mana is low. There's a Cloud Drake, I think, coming up. Yeah, we don't have to pick that up, so we recall. Again, why do we do that? In which world do we catch him? We catch him in a world where when he spots us, like, let's say he's smart enough to not be here, but he's here. And he could be here. There's no reason for him to not to be. Or he is here, right? He could do that as well. Do you know that his flash is not up? Maybe, right? If he has flash, he flashes out. So you need to be aware that he has no flash. But he's here, right? So he might as well like move up a little, and then he sees you walking in. And then he like throws the E on you and you can't sidestep it because this is really narrow, right? And then he just walks out and you just wasted like 50 seconds. And the problem with these kind of things is in high elo it's inefficient and bad. And in low elo it's basically giving your team 15 seconds without you in which they can just throw the game. Do you actually want that? I mean, you can't go... Wait, let me rethink how the blasting cone. I just forgot about the blasting cone. I'm sorry. Let me just consider how much the blasting cone changes the whole thing. I mean, the first thing is obviously that he's throwing his stun on the buff, which is super awkward. But like a good Xerath player wouldn't normally do that. So yeah, wait. Let's say he's good and he didn't use the E on the buff because he is aware that someone could come. The next thing he would normally do, okay, he has no ward. Okay, let's say it's that. So go in there. You have the Deadman's Plate. So let's say he spots you now, right? So he might move up a little, and you move in. He can still just, he's still fine, right? Because he can move up that, and you move in like that. And at that moment, it's pretty much over already because he can just walk out there and stun you up. That's the problem. If he's Smart, it keeps a stun, you don't catch up to him. That's the problem. This looks so clean, but it's not really it. It's not really. That's the problem. Do you still catch him though? I mean, you have Merc Threats, the stun isn't that long, and he didn't have so much mana. Maybe with Sona you actually get shit down there. I mean, look at that. They killed your fat ADC. If you like don't make the play, you joined him already again. And he might be able to like deny that of the opponents, because now you are staying around and your team is staying around for the whole duration of Twitch respawning and going back to battle. And this is again like an opportunity to throw the game. It's all about time windows. You being on the sideline here is fine though, generating farm. You should take that wave again. And then you could like, you could think, you can like take another wave there, but it's so dangerous because people could move on to you. I don't know how much you see though. Blue side, you're on blue side, right? Okay, you don't see a whole lot, so that's a little bit dangerous because Lee Sin could be around. I guess you're in raid boss modus already where nobody can really kill you, I guess. Especially when the ADC is around here, and the ADC is weak anyway. So I guess it's a little bit... It's less bad than it might be if you're not so far ahead. But with this amount of information, it's not really necessary to greedy here, right? You could just place a ward. Maybe place a ward here. Just wait for your team to apply pressure or to group up, and then you go top again, shove another wave, and then you can like flank them on the mid, flank the opponents on the mid lane, because you need to flank because your flash isn't up and you get kited out if the opponents are smart. Or you just frontline for your team, which isn't good because you can't engage and they can't engage properly as well. Maybe Sona can engage with flash with flash ultimate. But that's not ideal, because you don't want to dive them, right? It's not so easy to kill a Janna, Lee Sin, and it's not that fun. I mean, look at that. You actually get punished for that kind of greed, and it's not necessary. And it all comes down to why do it in the first place. No reason. Like... You can be greedy in laning phase to like find advantages, but then in mid and late game, be more like the guy who's like super laid back and just think about what's the next step to finish the game. What is bringing us closer to finish the game, and what isn't, right? Like even when you catch the Swain there, you don't really kill the Swain because he's like, it takes too much time. But even if you kill him, your team is still not in a really great position to push because you're ADC's bot lane, right? So it's not adding so much value. Come on, kill this Swain. They're actually really lucky that they're just in such good shape. This is bad. Oh my god. Okay, so we're back. I mean, you see, like, the fact that you don't communicate with your team through pings and that you die yourself all the time is just enabling them to throw all the time, because that's what teammates do. They throw the game, and this will not change until you're like high diamond. So you have to learn to control the pace and the flow of the game with your actions, with your pings, and the way you approach the game. You will see that, like, for instance, when really good players often smurf, you will see that the game looks so different from what you do. But that's just because the way they pressure the map and the way they ping and rotate is just completely changing the flow of the game. And you have to learn to do that as well, if you really want to be consistent in carrying as a top laner. Because as a top laner, you're just way more handicapped than other lanes. Like a mid laner can carry a lot through mechanics. Top laners are just so much more limited because we are bound to a lane which is so far away from major objectives in the early game. In the early game, you have to make the biggest impact as a single player. because people are not grouped up all the time. The Snash is fine here. It's a little bit dangerous, but I guess you're so far ahead that it's okay. The fact that your jungler is not around is super awkward, and like, oh my god, he actually managed to steal that. That's so sad. I don't know why Uda was out there. I guess that's not really your mistake. We're base. Okay. I don't know the proper itemization for Darius, but like that looks somehow correct, I guess. I feel like tabis are a little bit are not so necessary in this game because there isn't a whole lot of hard CC which you can actually get rid of with tabis, right? All you can get get rid of with the tabis is the Xerath stun and the Swain snare. But that's not really that much. I don't know if this is actually worth the tabis, to be honest, but not the Merc threats, I'm sorry. And tabis would give you a lot of value against Tristana, I guess, but I'm not so certain about it, so let's simply do T-top. Okay, you get the catch, that's good. Like you get that in. I think that's... I guess that's the kind of shit you pick Darius for, right? Okay, it wasn't ideal. I mean, I was a little bit too enthusiastic there as well. I mean, you basically pulled the tank. That doesn't pay off all the time. I mean, it paid off very well here, so why not? I'm not sure if it works out against good opponents. I'm not so certain, but it's fine. I feel like it works out often. Whatever. You're in the side lane, it's good. It's all in all, it's such a weird game that it's hard to talk about it. But yeah, we're in the side lane, we got some towers. You should just ping your team back, reset, and then you can like do something at like the 4-1 and a 4-1 formation, basically. Look at the gold again. You have like 1,800 gold. Like, why stick around? Just recall, sell your fucking Dorans, get two good hard items, ping your team back, because that's what teammates do. They throw the fucking game. Okay, your teammates are first. I mean, they are so fat that it's kinda okay. You traded 1 for 2. But like, this is not finishing the game, right? Because you can't finish the game now. I mean, what should you do? This is not decisive enough to actually win the game over it, or like to get an in-up tower, because they can still just wave clear it with Xerath. And you don't have a flash to just dive him, and even if you had, like, you have so much gold, I mean, why risk it? Just use that gold. I mean, it's nice getting these kills, and I'm sure it feels super satisfying having finally the 10k gold lead, which you can't see in game anyway, because Riot is like, no, gold numbers are too tilting probably in game. We have to hide the truth of the players or something, I don't know. But this is not finishing the game. Think about the early game as something you have to you should get ahead of Darius, then go into the mid game as a way of getting more ammunition so you can actually take down towers and objectives. And then we slowly transfer into the late game where we finally want to finish the game. That's it. That's our game plan. Well, that's like our mentality towards the game. And approaching it like that, like, yeah, let's just run around, get some picks, get some gold. That's not the attitude, because it just invites throwing all the time. And we don't want to throw the game, right? We want to win. We just want to end this game as quickly as possible. Regardless of if we are fat, 110 or 10-0, doesn't matter. We want to have the games finished quickly. Because we want to win quickly, and even when we lose, I mean, we don't want to lose slowly, right? I mean, it's a little bit of a waste of time. I mean, sometimes you can learn things from defending, so it's not so bad, but in general, we don't like to drag out things which don't need to be dragged out. Get the Infernal, that's good. We could like wait for the Nash, I guess, to be like so safe. Like basically wait for the Nash, then do the Baron dance, then like get a pick, get 2 picks, then get the Nash, then push through or something, you know? Like, we could do that. That would be pretty safe, I guess. But at the other side of the court, but on the other side, we have a 10,000 gold lead. I mean, we can pretty much use brute force at the point. Just pressure 2 lanes, so that Xerath isn't that strong, and then we just dive them, right? I mean, your Annie is a fucking clown, honestly. But like, we should be able to manage to pick one of them when we pressure 2 lanes, and then just get finally one in a tower, and after that it's over anyway. So, I don't know. So, okay, just be the nice frontliner who protects a Twitch and is super annoying to deal with. Or go on a sideline and pressure that if Udyr isn't doing it. One of you has to pressure the sideline. That was nice. Okay, that wasn't that nice. But Twitch will pick her up, I guess. I don't know why. I don't know why you would such that. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Let's rewatch that then. I'm so slow on my build reviews. I'm so annoyed. I have to get so much better at these. Okay, you get the pick, but see still the tank. Consider that. It works out. I guess it was fine. The only problem with these kind of things is when you're so concerned about when you're like so into the mood of oh wow, that's really unlucky, 10 HP. When you're like so hard focused on actually just grinding down the opponent's front when you're often inviting them to just go on your backline. We don't want that as a bruiser in general. If we can't get the kill quicker than the opponents, and I'm pretty sure that you need more time killing the opponent's Swain than the Lisa needs to kill one of your squishier members, especially if he has some AD items, what he does, then that's not particularly good. So we have to think about how we can solve that problem. But yeah, Lisa, Twitch pushed mid. This was really good. So we are in a very nice spot now. We have the mid lane and up done. So we can basically just group 5-man bot lane, group 5-man top lane. Or we do some 1-0-4 stuff. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. I guess it matters because Xerath can wave the bot lane for all day. So I guess something like 1-0-4 would be not too bad. Okay, or just waiting for the Nash in 40 seconds and then moving in for the Deciders to blow. But I guess in Silver that doesn't really matter because people are impatient and don't know how to defend. So they get picked so easily and die, and now we just finished the game. Well played. Okay. Just to give you some finishing ideas on what you should do if you want to get better and finally hit gold, get platinum, get to diamond. Yeah, you can get it. You can climb to diamond this season. The season is young. It's not a big deal climbing from silver to diamond. It's not that hard. Or I think you were silver. I think I checked you out. I'm talking so much about silver. It would be so bad if you were actually higher now. No, okay, it's silver. You should definitely just go out there. Just go out there, little pony, and learn to become a little bit better at your laning. Like, learn what it means to play in pockets. Try to understand the top lane. And if you don't want to research it yourself, search a coach for it. There's some really good people, or like, there are people who understand the way lanes should be played fairly well. So just search a top lane coach in a decent elo who can explain you that much, okay? I would recommend you that. Doesn't have to be a paid one. There are free coaches out there as well. Just do that. Then in mid game and late game, always think about how can you maximize your gold income. How can you get more gold than the opponents, and try to only make plays which have a really high success rate and which will really bring you ahead. Okay, try to do it. Another which have like a higher success rate on even on people who are better, right? Who are not so bad as this stuff here. Okay. The next thing is try to win the game. Like, realize that you're really ahead and that you have the tools to win the game, and then try to actually win the game finally. Try to figure out which objectives to take and how you get them. And then don't greed for useless kills, don't greed for useless objectives. Don't be the jungler. Like, I mean, I know you're a top lane or mid lane main. Your OPGG confused me a little bit. But don't be the kind of guy who is doing his fucking red buff while 4 members are sieging the mid lane tower. Okay? By the way, ADCs are an exception because red buffs on ADCs are godlike. Trust me, ADCs love red buff. So wait for your ADC when he does red buff. It makes his life so much easier. And ADC is such a complicated role. Oh, it's not complicated, but it's really hard. And you can trust your people to be really good. So give them every edge they need so they can perform halfway decent in a decisive team fight. But it's still annoying, right? It's so annoying waiting for someone when you want to finish the game. So don't be that guy. Don't open windows for throwing for your teammates. Just be like, I get ahead in early game. I get my team into decent position because I'm ahead and I'm using this lead. And then when my team and I are in a decent position, I'm finishing that game. Just be that kind of guy who is like 1, 2, 3, finished, done. Try to adapt this attitude and not be the kind of guy who is just going early mid game and then we do some random stuff and eventually the enemy nexus explodes, or maybe not, and whatever. Like, this is what you're doing right now. You don't have a plan, but you need a plan. Having a plan is so important. Yeah, I think these were the main points actually. I would love if you could give me, I think you can rate the VOD review. I would love that. I would love if you could actually give me a review. I don't know if you can message me on League Coaching, that sucks a little, but maybe you can like post a comment under the video or something where you can actually say a few words what you thought about the VOD review. I'm a little bit new to that whole thing because it's a new experiment we run on League Coaching, and it's so awkward for me as a coach to actually not being able to interact with my student. It's really awkward. So maybe you can give me a little bit of feedback as well. And yeah, have a great time, work hard, and I'm absolutely certain you will make it to gold easily, platinum soonish, and you can even make it to diamond if you have enough will to do so. Then yeah, see you soon. Bye.